In the months preceding the invasion, Russian officials accused Ukraine of Russophobia, inciting tensions, and repressing Russian speakers in Ukraine. They also made multiple security demands of Ukraine, NATO, and non-NATO allies in the EU. Commentators and Western officials describe these as attempts to justify war. Russophobia is a first step towards genocide, Putin said on December 9, 2021. Putin's claims about de-Nazification have been described as absurd, and Russian claims of genocide were widely rejected as baseless. Scholars of genocide and Nazism said that Putin's claims were factually wrong. Both Lavrov and Putin were criticized by US Ambassador Deborah Lipstadt for their weaponization of Nazism and of the Holocaust as being racially prejudiced when she stated that Lavrov's use of referring to Hitler's mother as Jewish and therefore inferring that Jews brought the Holocaust upon themselves was caustic by Lavrov in its direct inferences. Lipstadt similarly criticized the two Russian leaders for their weaponization of the term Nazism for their own self-interest. Zelenskyy declared that 16th of February, a speculated date for the invasion, a day of unity. Putin challenged the legitimacy of the Ukrainian state and claimed that Ukraine never had a tradition of genuine statehood, incorrectly described it as created by Soviet Russia, and falsely said Ukrainian society and government were dominated by neo-Nazism.Ukraine, like pro-Russian separatists in Donbas, has a far-right fringe, including the neo-Nazi-linked Azov battalion and right sector, but experts have described Putin's rhetoric as greatly exaggerating the influence of far-right groups within Ukraine. There is no widespread support for the ideology in the government, military, or electorate. Zelenskyy, who is Jewish, rebuked Putin's allegations, noting that his grandfather served in the Soviet army fighting Nazis. The U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in Yad Vashem condemned this use of Holocaust history and allusion to Nazi ideology in propaganda. During the second buildup, Russia demanded that the US and NATO enter into a legally binding arrangement preventing Ukraine from ever joining NATO, and remove multinational forces from NATO's Eastern European member states. Russia threatened an unspecified military response if NATO followed an aggressive line. These demands were widely seen as non-viable. New NATO members in Central and Eastern Europe had joined the alliance because they preferred the safety and economic opportunities offered by NATO and the EU, and their governments sought protection from Russian irredentism. A formal treaty to prevent Ukraine from joining NATO would contravene the treaty's open-door policy, despite NATO's unenthusiastic response to Ukrainian requests to join. Emmanuel Macron and Olaf Scholz made efforts to prevent the war in February. Macron met with Putin but failed to convince him not to go forward with the attack. Scholz warned Putin about heavy sanctions that would be imposed should the invasion happen. Scholz also pleaded with Zelenskyy to renounce the aspiration to join NATO and declare neutrality. However, Zelenskyy refused it.